Good evening, and I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Townsend Housing Authority at 6:30, Wednesday, March 13th. Roll call.
Kevin Smith.
Natalie Call.
Laura Schifrin.
Chaz Sexton Duranian. This meeting is going to be recorded. Is anybody else recording? You're not recording, right? I'd like to all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And as always, we'd like to thank all our veterans for their service and for our freedom. Chairman's additions, deletions to agenda unforeseen prior to 48 hours of this meeting. I don't really have anything, but I can add what I wanted to add under my portion of it. Do you have anything, Lori, that you want to add? Additions or deletions?
I don't think I was reporting on the MRPC DLTA, and
right.
I do not see that on here.
Vice Chair's updated report.
I'll do that on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then do you want to? The volunteer form is not on here, is it?
Right, but I can. That's why I said
on yours.
I'll do that on my part.
Okay.
Okay. So first, under appointments 2.1, I want to welcome Kevin Smith back to the board. We have voted to bring Kevin back, and Kevin was appointed by the Board of Selectmen officially last Tuesday. And you're all under oath and everything, sir?
Oh, boy. Yep.
But thank you very much.
I went and got sworn at today, as a matter of fact.
Nice, okay. But thank you very much for your service. And the next 2.2 is discussion, DHCD information and next steps. I've given you guys a printout that has a copy of the email that I had from this Chris Kluckman. She's the Housing Choice Program Director for the Department of Housing and Community Development, CHCD, that you guys hear Lori and I talk about a lot. The reason why I printed this out is there's a couple of websites on there I'd like to have you guys look at. A few of these are tools that are going to be helpful to us going forward. We had quite a lengthy conversation in regards to what is available to us as a housing authority. And according to our conversation, there was a lot that I didn't even know that were available to us. She has also sent out, and I'll forward those emails that have an attachment to it. But there are other communities that have certain programs that are going that I think would fit right into our quest to increase our affordable housing for Townsend. That is not a project-based type thing. They're looking at if there's any available land. There could be residences within the community that have had, taxes. There's a tax lien on it, or however that works. And there's ways in which we would be able to work with the town, with the selectmen, to see if we could get those properties signed over to the town so that we could get affordable housing and that kind of stuff. There's technical assistance and grants related to a lot of that stuff. So any comments or?
No, just that I would ask.
Has that ever been successful, Larry?
Well, it is an opportunity if, depending on the parcel and depending on what, like, say, the tax collector says. So I think if you want, before the next meeting, I'll talk to Vicki. I'll get an updated list of, no, I won't talk to Vicki. I can get an updated list of the town-owned properties, but to the tax collector and get what properties have liens on them.
Because wasn't there just a big auction where they dispersed all of that property last year at auction? The town finally auctioned off. They had like 27 pieces, or?
Not to my knowledge. Why, did you buy some?
No, I didn't buy any of it. I didn't buy any of it because it was a lock, stock, and barrel deal. Somebody bought it all. It was sold last year, all that stuff that we talked about years ago. A lot of that stuff was sold, all that tax title stuff.
I'll look into it. I'll look into that and report for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. My thoughts also are, I've been looking at a lot of grants that are going to be coming available. There's some new ones out there. When those come, when I get more information on some of those, and I'll just make an agenda item so that we can talk about how we'd like to move forward. There's one that we were talking about that talks about feasibility studies, and if there's any proposed or ideas for plans, that there's this one out there, I think it was $20,000, that I thought, we might be able to see if we could do something for the feasibility study for the Dudley Road property. But once I find out more information in regards to that, I'll let you guys know. I told Chris that we want to look at a couple of these things. She's willing to come out and speak with us at any time, but I wanted to make sure that we had at least an agenda item and something that we wanted to talk with her about before we did that. But she also can bring me to the proper departments at the housing, the DHCD. So if we do need specific help for either grant writing or, finding out procedures on how to go forward with building a project or whatever, she can point me in the right direction with that. So she was a good contact to have. So once we get a little more information and I find out further down the road what's going on with that, then we'll go ahead and talk about it.
Didn't we reach out to them a couple of years ago?
Yeah, we have to constantly be in touch with them because they are the organization that deals with all of accessory apartments, all of that, anything to do with 40B. Everything has to be approved through DHCD.
That's right, I remember that.
Yeah. So it was, I have been trying to get some sort of contact there in that agency because when I was appointed as state rep, there was, it was kind of like, okay, have a good time. And there was never a person, a contact, a training or anything. So I'm going to meetings and meeting people and trying to pull in as much interest as I can. I know that one of our selectmen had met with Chris at a MMA, I think it was. I can't remember exactly. But she was given my information, and then I contacted and I talked with her. And she's really kind of like a point person. I call her, she can tell me who I need to talk to as opposed to, actually physically helping us out.
When I retired the last time, that we were working with that agency over there on Dudley, and nothing ever became of...
RCAP?
No, not RCAP. Who was the company? Who was the company that we had in? They were from Andover, Mass, I believe.
We had a couple in.
And one of them, then there was the one from out in the western part of the state, too. They had
Veterans Inc. you're talking about?
Veterans Inc.
Yeah.
And
were you with us when we had Soldier On come in? Because we had them twice. Probably not.
the Soldier On, they're from down Andover way. They built something in Andover.
They've built in a lot of places. When we went out to Agawam, but they're mostly in Western Mass and in New York.
Oh. No, I don't
But anyway, that's another long story, and we're not going there right now.
I was just wondering if anything ever became of that.
No.
Okay.
No, we've had a lot of meetings and interviewed a lot of different, what could be partners, but nothing right now.
Yeah. And we can talk a little bit about that in their next steps at Affordable Housing
Right.
Project. We can touch upon that, Kevin, in that particular part of it. So in our work session for Chairman's or State Housing Representative Report, I did receive an email from one of the executive assistants in town, and we received a volunteer response form for Courtney, and Courtney actually is here with us tonight, and I thank you very much. Courtney is interested in assisting us here on the Housing Authority. two things that really stuck out to me is that Courtney is a licensed architect in Massachusetts, and this is what I really liked. It said, "Why are you interested in the Housing Authority?" It said, "I'd like to contribute to the success and give back to the community. I believe my background, I would be able to contribute to this committee in a meaningful way." What are your goals? My goal would be to meet the affordable housing needs in our community without sacrificing the quality of each person's wants, which I thought was really nice. So we have, there's one position that's open. That position is for it's a tenant member, somebody that is living in the affordable housing. Kevin was just appointed. And the reason why I kind of wanted you to come here tonight is to let you know, number one, but I don't want to let you go. If you're interested in helping us, we need all the help that we can get. And somebody with your expertise would be really, I think, would be good for us to be able to utilize. My thoughts are, what do we have to do to ask for like an alternate member or something like that?
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
My thoughts exactly.
There's an alternate, planning board has an alternate, which by the way is vacant right now.
Yeah.
Which by the way is vacant right now. And I was talking with, I had spoken at the last meeting, I was talking with somebody who might have been interested, and I found out yesterday that she's going to be going back to school, so she's not going to be doing this. But so where we are here is that there will be an election on April 22nd.
Yep.
Okay, so Kevin's position right now is through
Just a month.
Yeah.
Then I retire again.
No.
Well, no. Well, we hope not. But this is what happens in the election. There can be write-ins, and at this point in time, there is no one that has taken out papers for the vacant seat. The other position that's open that Chaz was referring to is an appointed position by this board, but it's state mandated that it's for a tenant. Now, do you own your own home? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that part would actually disqualify you for that. The appointed position on planning, which you would still have the background for, because we look at a lot of plans, and engineers come before us,
right,
kind of thing. So your knowledge would be helpful in that way. Is an alternate position. And there's no reason why there couldn't be two alternates. We need to look into the process of getting an alternate for this board, which it is
That'd be
not now,
wonderful.
but we could, I'm not the chair, so I can make a motion that that the chair look into the process for us to get an alternate position for this board. What that would mean, just like the one in planning, you would come to the meetings, and should someone from the board be absent, you could fill that position.
Vote.
And there's a statement that we read, like in planning, that's read, and it's voted that you'll be a member that night, kind of thing. And that's, I think, a really good idea for a lot of boards, because if you don't have a quorum,
We have been dealing with this in the town of Hollis, New Hampshire, on a project. And they have two alternate members on that board,
planning.
on planning. And it's
Yeah.
been wonderful because there's never a full board, and the two alternate members are always there to vote. And it just moves things forwards rather than rather than having to reschedule.
Right.
We find it here all the time when I'm sitting on the other side,
Right.
sitting here, and zoning is sitting here, or planning is sitting here,
Right.
because I'm a businessman in the community as well.
Right.
And I find that all the time in the towns that we work in. They're rescheduling because they don't have a quorum.
So it's important for the alternates to attend, because when it's a hearing for a subdivision or something, like that, where it's public hearing and then you close the hearing and then the board votes, it has to be a vote of people who are knowledgeable with what has been going on. So for the most part, they have to have attended all the meetings where presentations were presented, and then they can vote and they can sign off on that plan.
Right, or public hearings or anything like that, that you've got the knowledge of whatever the vote is going to be.
And we don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but would you be interested in being an alternate on planning?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, because that's available right now.
Okay.
This other one, and we would love to have this other one, and there's nothing that says you can't be an alternate on more than one board. Many of us serve on more than one board because there aren't, too many, volunteers that come forward. But if you are, and basically your volunteer form is in for the Townsend Housing Authority, but there's nothing saying that you can write in. I'm trying to think of one planning. Planning is meeting. Oh yeah, it's just we're both on planning. So, which ties into zoning. We meet on the 25th. So, if you would like to attend that meeting, and we could ask for your appointment to that as an alternate, and then the alternate position is different than the elected position. I don't want to speak because I'm not quite sure if that one goes to June 30th and the alternates are appointed every June 30th, or if it's the same as the election where you fill your position the day after the election and after you're sworn in. So I'm not quite sure about that, but the election...
We talked about that on...
We did. If you come on the 25th, it'll be all set anyway, because...
Is it the same time?
6:30, yes. And we usually meet up in the Selectmen's Chambers.
Yeah. Yeah, we did talk about that, and the 25th is fine because it's after the election.
Yeah.
So that would work out.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, and I think with your background, you would be a great addition.
I agree.
Yeah, I really, like I said, I'm kind of looking for an opportunity to give back. I mean, I work for a lot of people right now that have a lot of money to have whatever they would like to have, and it'd be really nice to help people that maybe don't have that same
Hey, you're looking at them.
Whether I am too, trust me.
So those people that have a lot of money, if they have land too,
I know.
especially around in this area in Townsend, let us know too.
I unfortunately work in Concord right
Yeah,
now,
well.
a lot of people have a lot of money there.
Right, yeah, I know.
It's a little different community.
Yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor to have the chair look into an alternate for the Townsend Housing Authority. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Okay, so I will go ahead and check into, and if I remember correctly, I think that we can use your volunteer form for the planning board as well. It's just that you have to have, you just have to submit this, so I think that would be fine. But I'll also check on that.
You want to get that to Beth?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and just
can do
tell
that.
her, and we'll try to put you on. I can't remember what that agenda was all about, but certainly we would have 2 or 3 minutes to be able to handle the alternate position on that board.
Well, we have public hearings. We have 2 public hearings. We have a lot of things coming up on that one, but I don't think this would take that long.
Right.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And I did want to, I wanted to let you guys know that there was a memo that went out that I had sent to the Board of Selectmen and the Town Administrator in regards to our last meeting that was held on March 1st. Which voted myself as the chair, Lori as vice chair. It also stated that Kevin was unanimously nominated to the Housing Authority as a general. No, this is before. We also notified them in regards to the warrant article prepared by Town Council that we voted that, approved that as well, and we motioned and voted the chair to submit the new warrant article to the Board of Selectmen to approve and present at annual town meeting by the Housing Authority, which I have done. And we probably will need to catch you up on that, Kevin, when we get to that particular item. But Lori and I both felt that we needed to let the Board of Selectmen know that of that vote, so that went through. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, which I don't have here now, but I can talk about it after in next steps. So we can go to 3.2. And that's the Vice Chair's update and report. Lori?
Yeah, so the only thing I have to talk about tonight is I went to the MRPC meeting, and they got 13 applicants for the DLTA grant. And our grant was a combination, or our request was a combination of the master plan, housing chapter, and the Townsend Housing Authority's preparation for our 2020 housing plan. So it was a joint effort, so that was a good thing for us to do, like killing two birds with one stone kind of thing. And then I got a little worried because Townsend had another request to regionalize the police department. But their request was regionalization, so it was Townsend, Pepperell, and Ashby.
Wonderful.
And so it wasn't counted as like a second one coming from Townsend, because of the 13, 4 towns had 2 requests. And I thought they were going to look at Townsend as having 2, and they right away said, no, you don't have to worry about it, because I had said, I mean, that's 3 towns, and they said anything that's regional would not be counted as a second request. So what they did that night, and they have since sent out another email for the second round, because that was the first round. In John Young's discussion of the 13 grants, he felt that if all of them were granted, because what happens next is he talks to the towns, and then he sends the qualifications of each grant to the state. The state has to approve it before it gets approved. The first step is that the board at MRPC, which I'm on, for the town of Townsend, approves the grants. Then they go to John to discuss with the towns. Then it goes to the state. And then they get granted. So what the board voted to do was they voted 10 of the, well, maybe they voted 9, because they voted to ask each town that presented 2 grants to prioritize their grant. That they would, everybody would get 1, and then once that 1 was decided on, they would see how much money they would have left over for the second round. Mm-hmm. And if any more come in, then I think what'll happen is that if more come in and it's not a second one for a town, that town will get a chance to be included. Because they want to, obviously, as they say, spread the wealth. We had some in-kind services in our grant application, which meant we would have some staff and we would, do some of the activities along with MRPC. Right. And they take that into consideration, because one of the grants that was asked for, and I forgot exactly what it was. It wasn't Townsend's regionalization. It was something having to do with handicap accessible. And that grant was going to be about $40,000, according to John. So he's not quite sure that, that grant that we're going to get is going to be able to absorb that much. So can they negotiate with the town? Right. Kind of thing. Right. So
we're actually in pretty good shape for.
We're in good shape, and that's exactly what I was.
For ADA.
Oh,
or
yeah.
handicap, actually in pretty good shape in town.
Okay, I was going to say that in reference to the grants, but okay.
But we are in good
Use the
shape
same
with-
words.
For both of them.
Yeah, so I was really pleased that, we should be doing okay.
Yeah, because we have the affordable housing plan coming up, the housing portion of the master plan coming up.
Now, since I've been out of it for a while, where are we in our 10% stock now?
4.6.
4.6? So when
We made
Turnpike
the
Village
appoint less.
came online, that gave us what, 4?
Turnpike Village?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Gary's place up by the farm, but there's 2 there, or?
41.
So that all fell into,
All of it,
and we're still at 4.6.
right.
We're at 4.8, but now we're at 4.6.
Yeah, because we lost 2 over in your new
Coppersmith.
place, Coppersmith. We lost 2 of the affordable there.
Yeah, that
And then I think that Lois Lane,
there's one on the corner.
do you have one? We didn't think
No.
there was any on Lois.
No, there isn't one on Lois. When we bought that, well, actually, when Tully bought it, I'll rephrase that because Tully Smith did not buy it. Ken Tully bought that, sold it to Chaplin. We didn't build any of that out. We sold it to Ken Chaplin.
Yeah.
There's one affordable house that's up on it. It's frame roofed inside it. I don't know what extent it is inside. That is on, would that be Penny Lane? I'm trying to think. Lois Lane. The one on the left. There's one that he's built in there that's affordable, to my knowledge.
I don't remember seeing
I know
that
it
on
is,
the
I know it
inventory.
is, because it's a small house. It's in the 1,200 square foot range or something
I
like
haven't
that.
driven by there at all, so I'll take a ride down there.
When you go into Coppersmith, it's right on the left. When you turn left to go into the piece that we sold him, it's right there on the right. As soon as you turn into the left, it's right there on the right. It's corner lot. Now, because the town lost the affordable status on the one just before that, as I understand it.
They lost 2.
2.
2 in there?
Yep.
Because once it goes over a year on the market, they can then sell at market,
And they
and
get
they
reimbursed
both
for the...
sold at market.
Yeah, they followed all the procedure because we got after it's been on the market for a year or something, then they submitted it back to us to let us know that it's been on the market for a year. These are what we
I
marketed
knew there was
it
one in
for.
there. I didn't realize, I wasn't
2.
aware that there was a second one. That concerns me a little bit. That, or I should concern
Well, they
the
both
board.
got sold, but they're not sold as affordable.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that, the town's losing stock.
Right.
That's yeah.
And we were told at the planning board meeting, I think, that, because I was concerned about Turnpike Village, perhaps being reverted, or you're the one that said it, perhaps being reverted after the 15-year, but the 15-year has nothing to do with that, and those are in perpetuity.
Right.
So he really did us a great favor. I mean, the other thing that we were looking for was anyone who wanted to donate land to the town so that we have other options in where we could build an affordable house, whether it be one, which we did once with Habitat, or if we could, build a duplex, but build something that would be low to moderate income on and partner with somebody.
I like that idea the best.
Yeah, the partner-
I don't know how to bring it before the board, but it sitting on the other side of the bench.
I think we're
other
going
side
to
of
talk
the
about that in next steps, because we've kind of had a, what's the word I want to use?
I know. I was going to say brainstorm, but that's not it. We
no.
had brain matter all over
Kind
the
of
place.
had like,
An exploratory
why didn't we do
discussion.
that before?
Yeah.
Because
I got a phone call back in, oh my gosh, June. Maybe it was or even earlier than that, from the chairman of zoning, asking if we had any potentially developable property in the center of town. Just so happened, the day before, I bought a piece in the center of town. the downtown commercial district, or we did, our company. And so we were actually thinking about some kind of a, multi-family, maybe 10 units and kicking one back or something. I don't know. We haven't got to that point yet because they were going to rewrite the rules and stuff to make it allowable down here. And without having 19,000 feet of frontage and all the other stuff, the contingencies that they have today.
I don't know
They were working on it, and they were supposed to get to bring it before planning board to get their help on doing it. And I don't think they did anything.
Well, planning's working on the accessory apartment bylaw, and I don't.
Well, this would have been a multi-family project.
Well, multifamily change was one of the things that came out of the forums that we had in 2014. And we still haven't implemented any
No,
of the
haven't.
bylaw changes from that forum.
See,
So now we're back 5 years later.
Littleton's working at it right now because the state is kind of up the local towns, what's about some over 55s.
Right.
There's a massive shortage of over 55s as well. That piece that we happen to own came up in that conversation. I was asked if we'd be willing to do something for over 55s in the downtown commercial district.
Now, this is where my contacts at DHCD would be able to help out as well.
Well, I think it's simply the town's just got to make some zoning changes and some changes to make it the density work, and we'd probably start tomorrow, and that would help. It's only going to give us one, but
Well, that goes along with what you and I were talking about.
Well,
but it's food for thought, conversation for another day.
well, I think we might have discussed this before, and I said, why don't you make them all affordable?
Yes, you did. Yes,
Don't you
did.
remember that?
Yes.
I do. It was
Right.
brief, and most of it went in and out.
In and out, right. Which is what happens with most of the people I talk to.
You have to. We're willing to give the town something, and
Well, wouldn't the density just have to do with, well, I mean, you could get a zoning variance,
we probably could.
okay? And then the,
We want to work with the town to give the town,
Is there town water there?
affordable. What's
is there
that?
town water
Town water.
with that piece?
Town water and gas. It's right in the center of town.
Okay,
No
so,
riverfront issues, no wetlands issues on the property, within 200 feet of the property. So it's a perfect piece of property within walking distance to Family Dollar, McNabb's, Cumberland's, Mr. Mike's, the Townsend House.
how many acres?
There's a couple acres there, I guess,
2?
probably. I
So-
haven't looked at it that close.
Yeah. So, if we could get,
No groundwater.
as long as no groundwater and it's sand there,
No
so the
groundwater,
perking
yes,
would be good.
yeah.
I think, whatever the Board of Health would allow, I would,
I've
I'd be in
talked to
favor
them.
of
I've
that.
talked to them briefly, but like I say, I'm sitting on the wrong side of the fence tonight. Really,
well, right now,
and we're
you're
just
talking about a possibility.
and
The-
we're
the
right
other-
at the beginning as well.
Yeah, and we're talking about increased affordable housing. The problem with, if you do 10, and you probably could do 10.
I don't know
If the
if we can
If the
or we
Board of
can't.
Health allowed it, okay? And that would mean the septic system. If the septic system, if there could be a septic system that was doable, that would accommodate,
They told me that there was.
okay.
They told me that it was very doable. The problem isn't a Board of Health issue at all. The problem is zoning as it stands today.
Right.
And getting it before planning.
Right.
And I actually was hoping that it would have been ready for the Springtown meeting.
It's not.
No, it's not. It hasn't moved forwards.
No.
But if you...
I was talking with one of the members the other night from zoning, and the comment was no.
But
there's nothing.
if you can come on the 25th to that planning board meeting, we're talking about the zoning change to accessory apartments, and in that same area of the bylaw, there's the one about that one single line, I don't even think that's going in either, the 55 and over line.
No,
And
I
the
haven't seen it.
multifamily, part hasn't been touched. But if it could be brought up at that,
We'd like to do some 55 and over, because one, the town doesn't have any.
right,
We can pick up some 55 and over and pick up one affordable. If you pick up 9 over 55s and one affordable, or whatever we can get in there, and I'm not sure. We're at pretty early stages.
Right, but if you do 10 units,
At 10, you'd fall under the 10% rule, right?
no.
Actually,
yes.
we wouldn't fall under the 10% rule. I think we're talking about.
It's a wash.
We're talking about trying to kick one back.
Right, but it's a wash. It doesn't increase our, because you're bringing in 10 new units, giving one back is only the 10%, so it's a wash.
Yeah,
There's
you're
no
right.
gain to the
That
town.
part, you're right. That part of it is a wash. The only good thing is that you've got, probably with the over 55s and a 2-bedroom kind of structure, you're not going to have any children in the school system. You're going to have people that are retired and hopefully still healthy enough that the ambulances and the firehouse isn't going to have to send somebody down there every day at an expense to the town. There's not going to be a lot of trash pickup. We're looking at it from that standpoint.
Right.
That's a win-win. It's just like some of the other things we do, like the storage.
right, but
That's
if
been a
you
win-win
if you
for the
did
town.
if you built under like a 40B, let's say,
I don't.
You'd be
wanna
able
use
to
that.
do-
I'm not going to use that word.
well, you'd be able to utilize just the comprehensive permit on that.
We'll see when we get there.
Yeah. It's
For landowners, that's a recourse that they have, but it flies in the face of the town. So a lot of them, Kevin's always been nice to the town. So,
Well, we'll
he
do the
knows
right
he's
thing.
got that option.
We want to do the right thing.
right,
You know.
right.
But I'm slightly excited over it because we don't have any designated over 55.
No, we don't.
And, the
Well,
thought,
we do,
we'll
but
pick
we
up-
don't.
No, we don't, do we?
Well,
Do we have any designated over 55?
Yes.
Deeded over 55 units in town?
yes. Townsend Woods
Woods
is over
is.
55.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Atwood Acres is not.
Right.
That's right.
Townsend Woods
Townsend Woods
is.
is, that's right. And I should know that because we did the site.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so is that enough for your report there?
Oh, yeah, I thought we already were in something else.
We wondered if we
We
wandered.
did.
We wandered again.
Wandered
To
off
next
where we
steps, I thought.
Shouldn't have
Yep.
wandered.
3.3, discuss
It
the
happens.
annual town meeting proposed warrant article pertaining to Dudley Road property. This is the reason why I put that on there,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because we
I
discussed it
wanted
at the
to.
last meeting.
Right, and I wanted to say that we've submitted it to, the
Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen, and it's on there, and we should be pretty,
Did I get
Should be
coffee?
good
I
to
think
go.
we read it. I think we also read it.
I think
at
I read it into the record, if I remember
last
correctly.
week, last meeting.
Yep. Yep.
So for anybody who's interested, the warrant article to take out the land in the Dudley Road parcel, which was simplified by town council, is on the last YouTube
Can you
video
say that again?
of
I'm
the
sorry, I
meeting.
lost track of myself.
Pardon me?
Yeah, Can you repeat that, please? About taking something on what?
No, the Dudley Road
Yeah.
property,
Yeah?
that the motion failed at the special town meeting.
Yeah.
So we had the town council rewrite it to eliminate any specifics. In other words, really to go back to the step one that we were talking about. And the step one is only to remove the parcel out of the track and take it to court, because you have to go to court to get that extracted,
Which parcel are we talking about?
Dudley Road. Where
The last piece.
Atwood and Townsend Woods is.
The parcel to the left down.
Yeah.
One
the
that we
11
did
acres.
the site walk on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
the last piece. And have that extracted and have it given to the Board of Selectmen, authority for the Board of Selectmen, and then that would come under the Townsend Housing Authority purview to make recommendations back to the Board of Selectmen in the town.
Right, so if we wanted to get a feasibility study, we just need to ask the Board of Selectmen as opposed to going through the whole process again. So we're taking the first step to take it out
Get
of
rid of the court part.
Right, to take it out of the trust that it's in
Yep.
and put it to the Board of Selectmen to allow them to have authority to let.
Boy, some of those land transactions for things like that have become quite complicated, haven't they?
Yeah.
Well, this is written, well, the other one was written just like the one we had before when we took the parcel out for Townsend Woods.
Yep.
The difference was we named our partner and we named the specific use.
Right.
And although that was done the last time it was done, it was received a lot differently. In other words, it was over 55 housing. It was not specific for veterans. It was over 55. And we named our partner because it was a partner that had been used before, and the town, or the leadership of the town, was fine with not going out for an RFP.
RFP.
So we had done enough groundwork for an RFP in the last 18 months, in other words, with all the interviews that we did, to make a decision. But in hindsight, it was a quick decision with not all the information that we thought we were given was correct. So we felt a lot better with this article, which basically is just step one. It doesn't name anyone, it doesn't give a purpose, except for the low to moderate income, you know, which falls in line with the gift that the man
Dr.
made,
Elwood, yep.
you know, to the town, Dr. Elwood, yeah, made to the town, and that is that it be for the needy.
Yep.
And this has all been approved by town council. He said this would be the first step of many that we would need to do, and we wanted to do more steps than what we really,
Yeah.
but in hindsight,
Put the brakes
you know,
on for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should pass fine with the town, and then and it's going to take months to do, so then it gives us time to now do the next steps, and by the time it does get in the hands of the town, maybe we will be ready for a partner. And the partner may not be what we've had before.
Right. Right, there's a lot of other.
Smart move.
Are we in
Yeah.
next steps?
We are, well,
Or-
the next
No.
the next one is the accessory bylaw and then next steps. You
all
want to
right.
jump to next steps? We can jump to that first if you want.
Well, the only reason why I say that is next steps, I think, and Chaz will chime in, I'm sure, that we need to look at different partners. In other words, we might be able to get a partner, a developer partner, who would not own the land, you know, but would take a part in. I'm not even quite sure how this would work, because there's a funding mechanism that we don't have yet for the cost of the construction. We have the land, so we would be donating the land, and how. This is only like
You'd
beginning
almost
thoughts.
have to have a 99-year lease contract because, or something like that, because I don't know how you would find a developer that would come in and take it over, build it out, and rent it or lease it to veterans under the town's guidance. It would have to come under the town's or veterans agents' approval, or the town's approval.
But
to
it
let
doesn't,
somebody
it can be
in.
mixed use. It's not just veterans.
Yeah,
It can
right.
be, we're looking
You know,
for,
and, something in partner with the town, where the town gets a percentage of the rental income
Yep.
for operating expenses or other things like that. It all sounds interesting,
And we might end up with a management company in town. I mean, there's so many different ways that we have.
because I don't care I'm not sure I was ever thrilled about the way it was before.
Right, it's not good.
I think
Yeah.
I've expressed my displeasure more than once, but because
Yeah,
you're
it's
giving
not
up,
good.
when you give up ownership basically, to an entity like that. You never know where you're going to end up.
Well, what I believe is our focus is to be able to look at the ways in which we would be able to retain as much ownership as we possibly can. Not necessarily for the land or whatever, but to I mean, there are ways that we could restructure the
Yeah, so
housing
that you gotta stay
authority
put.
itself. We could get you have a housing authority trust.
Correct.
Set that up that way so that we would be able to then manage, a facility like that, which would lead to, a lot of other steps that we would need to take. And that's part of the reason why I'm trying to partner with DHCD, because there may be other avenues that we can go that will help us do that if we need to
You
go
won't
that
get the
way.
help, but I think that's all you're going to do, because, when you get involved with any of these entities, now everything's prevailing wage, it's going to be something similar to
Well,
what
we have to go through them regardless
you have
of what
now.
we do.
No, not necessarily. You get private funding, you turn it over to somebody, and they build it out. and
But if
give
it's
the-
affordable, it still has to go through them, no matter
Why is
how.
that? Why is that?
Because
Is that a
Explain
state-
that,
state
explain
mandate?
that one.
Yeah.
Explain that to me, why?
Because
I could come along, I'm just going to say hypothetically, I come along and build that project out and give the town back 10, 20% of the rental proceeds and under a 99-year contract or something like that. Isn't that legal?
it has to go through DHCD. You have to follow the guidelines set by the state, so it's
Then you're not
general.
going to find a private contractor to invest in it.
You never know.
I don't believe it. Well, who knows? That's my take on it.
Any low to moderate housing goes through them. We can't put that on the state register without going through them.
That almost has to be built on private property by a private entity, excluding a piece such as that, but I don't see why it
But
couldn't be
it
done.
won't be able to go into the inventory. It has to go through them. They have to approve it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can do it with their approval. I mean, not every project's going to go like the last one. Do you have to use their vendors? Or they just have to be approved through?
I don't know, and I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why you'd have to.
Well, that's something we'd have to look at. I mean, there's a lot of things.
There's a lot of.
When we
there's a
say
lot of
step
things
one,
to-
it's step
yeah,
one.
There's a lot of
Really.
things to think about, but, and let's use Gary's for an example, that picked up, now, did they approve that?
What? Oh, Turnpike?
Yeah. Did they
Oh.
have to approve that?
In order to
I
get
believe
on,
he did.
Yeah.
Because he's all of his went through the state.
it cannot go
But it
on.
was-
Came back
but it
all
was built-
affordable.
But it was built by a private contractor with
Right.
private
Yeah.
funds on
But
private
it has
property.
to go. In order for it to go on the inventory,
It has to just go through to get
it
the
has to
approval.
get
Yeah.
approved. Right.
Well, I
So
can see that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm saying everything has to go through them as far as approval is concerned, but we don't have to, it has to follow the state guidelines for affordability, market, how you market it, all of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. That's what they watch, but as far as everything else, no, they don't have to approve that part of it. But in order for us to put
They
it
don't
on.
have to approve every single contractor or whatever,
No.
but they probably have
They
specifications.
just have to prove that it's being built as an affordable housing
Correct.
stock.
And make sure that we follow the affordable
Yeah.
housing rules and
Yeah.
regulations.
Yeah, so we're really, that's something we really want to explore. It's going to take a lot more to be done internally at the town to set that up, but other cities and towns have done it. Why give it away and then have the complaints
Well,
that we've had?
that's what I hate to see. I hate to see something like that happen again. And I thought that's probably where the direction it was headed.
No. This board, it wasn't going to go that way with this board. It was not going to be coming out of here recommended that way.
No.
Right.
It won't happen again because it's just too much.
So with next steps, what we did was, we had submitted a budget to the selectmen. We actually had I had one budget meeting that I represented the board, and then this past Saturday, I was in front of they had a budget meeting for the Townsend boards and committees. we have been approved for a budget for the first time for Housing Authority. It was also written in the land use coordinator's job description that they are officially going to be working 5 hours a week, doing duties for the Housing Authority for 5 hours a week for the first time, yeah.
Well, no, it's not the first time. It's the first time that it's being written into the agreement. It's only the last 3 years that we've had this misunderstanding. It's
Correct.
always been the land use coordinator,
What's her
Kathy
name?
Arujo.
Yes. Kathy did it for-
But it
yeah.
was...
It was not in the job description.
It was volunteer according to what
It
was being
wasn't.
said. And
Well,
I'm
she's
I
just,
know.
salaried,
I'm
yeah.
just saying that, you know, I wanted to make sure that we had it official and that it went through and we are approved with the budget. We have, what did I say?
5 hours a week.
No, I said that we have been a satellite board and
Oh,
we
yeah.
just wanted to get attached to the mothership. So we're finally attached to the mothership when it comes to that.
Do you have a copy of the, do you have a copy of that draft for the article?
Yep.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't have it in the back of it.
So as far as anything else, what were you saying, Lori? Did you want me to look into anything for our next steps?
Not right now, because the thing that I was saying to look into was, what is it that has to be approved at the state for somebody who wants to build affordable housing?
Okay. If we have something that's going to be built that isn't, I mean, if we partner, you're talking if we partner with a developer, let's say.
Yeah, if we are the partner too, instead of giving up the land,
Yep,
but we partner with the developer.
correct.
That is not, well, see, we had to be with the HUD management company in the past because we were being given HUD 202 funds.
Right, we're funded by HUD.
Yeah, and now we're not looking to do that. We don't know where we're going to get funding right now.
Right. And that's part of this stuff that I want to look at, that we'd be able to do. All right, so we'll look at state approval as far as that's concerned, as far as partner.
You don't have anything in here about accessory apartment bylaws, do you?
Yeah, we do 3.4. 3.4. Oh, no, not
No,
in
not in that
that one.
article.
It's
This
only
This is
for
just
the
the one
land.
article for the land transfer.
Yeah, that's
So
not,
You're not
right.
trying to change, you're not trying to put something before Springtown meeting to change the
Accessory apartment, yes.
accessory apartment bylaw.
Yes.
Yes.
You are.
The planning board is.
That
the
was-
planning board is,
yeah,
oh, okay.
The planning board, not us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a bylaw change.
Yep.
So
Okay.
planning does that.
But I will say that it's been the zoning, the planning, and the housing authority have all worked on that.
I mean, yeah, because all three of them work together.
Well, that's the way it was originally enacted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So why don't we go to 3.4, the planning board accessory apartment bylaw. Kevin, I can send you a copy of that via email. Do you get email at that? Is there a better place to do it?
No, that's a good place. Send it to Mike. Send it to him.
Okay.
Actually, giving him a hard copy is the best.
That's,
The hard copy is the best. I'm a little bit old school.
all right. So I'm going to try to get
Then
you
I've
a...
got to have somebody in my office print it out so I can read it, because I try to do this.
Well,
And I look at
It's
it.
okay.
I know a good friend of yours that I can send it to that could print
There
it
you
out
go.
for you.
Yeah, just send it up, just send it to me. Just send it to me, Chaz. I'll have the girl secretary print it out.
But the accessory apartment bylaw, I just wanted to let everybody know that we had discussed it with the planning and with zoning, and the proposal has been given to the selectmen. at this point, and we're still kind of doing rough.
And there's a public hearing on it on Monday,
The 20.
April 25th.
It, upstairs.
Yes, in the Selectmen's.
That's the next meeting.
April?
April,
Oh, April.
oh, no, the public hearing for the accessory bylaw is April 25th.
Yeah.
And it's along with the marijuana,
The ballot questions for the
the
marijuana.
ballot question, just forum,
And
like a
no,
question
we're
and
not-
answer
We're
thing.
not growing marijuana.
They're not, they're,
No, the
just
planning
gonna be
board
an
with the town
explanation.
council has
oh, town
come up.
council will be there.
Yeah, it has come up with the ballot questions, what the ballot questions are, and it's an opportunity for the townspeople to ask questions about the ballot questions, because it's one of those, the way it's worded, if you vote yes, this is what yes means, and if it's voted no, this is what no means, and it's kind of opposite of,
So we're doing that night,
Oh,
the
good.
25th.
did I explain that
Yeah,
right?
you
Yeah.
did.
Oh, you
That's the
basically-
scary
yeah.
part.
Yeah. It's one of those ones that are
No
written,
could,
so.
no could be yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly what it is,
Yeah.
you know.
So there's 7 questions.
If you vote yes, it means no. And if you vote no, it means yes. So we want, so we want to be clear on that.
There's 7 questions that the town has an opportunity to, because the town might be in favor of 2 of them and not 5 of them, or all of them or none of them. But each one has a different aspect to it. I mean, it has to do with research or
Well, there's
sale.
7, it's broken up into 7 different categories. Category, it's not just for a retail marijuana establishment, right? It's for, one is for a retail, one is for research and development, another one is for cultivation, another one is for delivery, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's all broken up so that it's not like, it can't be one statement with a yes or no answer. It has to be broken down to, you know, if the town wanted to allow for cultivation, but they didn't want retail, then they have the opportunity to say that. So it's not a ban and not.
Yeah, it's not a ban.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be if everybody voted no for everything.
Exactly.
But there's an opportunity there to do other things.
Right. Actually, if they voted yes, because yes means no.
The attorney's going to be there to say what it means.
Once they go and vote, they're gonna figure it.
3.6, correspondence?
None.
None.
No.
None. I like that.
I guess I would call that like a cheat sheet. You know,
Yeah, it
like
would.
you go in and it's
Well,
going to be all these things, and at least
You know how
and
you
you'll get
get-
one piece of paper
Yeah,
that
you get
night.
that booklet that gets mailed out by somebody that tells you what all the
Yeah.
referendum questions are. It's going to be the same thing as that. We do it live. We'll tape it.
Is that one going to be taped that night?
I would assume.
Oh yeah, it'll be a public hearing,
Yeah.
forum type thing. So
It'll be taped.
Hartley, did they let you know about April 25th for the public hearing for planning board in the selectman's office?
Not yet, but let me take a look.
Because that'll be on the accessory apartment bylaw and the ballot questions.
Marijuana.
Marijuana.
April 25th, that's...
Monday.
April 25th?
April 25th?
It says here it's on a Thursday.
Oh, good.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Okay.
No, that can't be. Oh, 25th.
Monday, no, it's Monday, April 29th.
April 29th, sorry. You're right, Hartley.
And April 29th?
Yeah.
Leave it to Hartley, so always right.
Again, what time and what location?
We think it's going to be in the Great Hall.
Okay.
Yes.
Upstairs.
That's what was discussed.
The following date has been changed for a second time to increase the probability of a quorum and to have the Great Hall. April 29th, 2019, public hearing, recreational marijuana establishments, zoning bylaw amendment with warrant articles. Attorney Adam Costa will attend.
Okay.
At what time? You know yet?
It doesn't say here because it's not, it hasn't been officially posted. My assumption would be 6:30. That's when all of the planning
We
board
might be
stuff usually.
gathering- Yeah, we might be gathering for that, but the hearing might be at 7.
Yeah.
Okay, the only thing that might prevent me from covering that, I don't see a school committee meeting on the 29th. School committee meets on Mondays. I'll double check on that. Maybe I could get someone from Pepperell or someone else to cover for me if there is.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that, but I'll just write this in here now, and then I'll check and make sure that I'm free that night.
Okay, awesome, Hartley. Thank you.
You're welcome.
3.7, approved meeting minutes.
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chair, to approve the minutes of January 9th, February 6th, and February 20th as emailed to all the board members and posted to the website.
Second?
Have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign?
Get the accessory.
Okay, so we
Unanimously
have
approved. So you've got that. 3 minutes are approved. And then...
9, 2/6, and 2/20.
Yeah.
And then February 26th, 2019, and March 1st, 2019, I would like to be taken up at the next meeting.
So we're
That's
going
a
to
motion.
table those two. That's a
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah, second.
Second.
Second by Natalie. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
Now, what do you want to do for...
So I also want to, I'll be working with Natalie, not this Saturday, but the Saturday afterwards. We're going to be working on a Saturday, and I'm going to go over our minutes, how to piece it into the format and that
Okay.
kind of stuff, right? Just so everybody's aware of that.
So...
So next meeting.
I didn't find out yet, but I wanted to talk about, because this would pertain to Kevin or anybody else out there, the candidates were supposed to be certified today for the coming election, and so I'm thinking tomorrow we would be able to get a list from the town clerk's office in reference to what vacancies are there that have not pulled papers. And then it seems that there would be people who are interested in maybe running as a write-in, or just a write-in that day. And Kevin, would that be you?
I'm sure I'm gonna have to be a write-in.
Okay. So, my thoughts are, do you want to meet, like maybe April 3rd? But before the election. And,
Wednesday the 3rd?
Yeah.
yeah, Wednesday the 3rd, or actually,
The election's on the 22nd.
yeah,
Yeah.
the 3rd or the 10th. So we can discuss maybe write-ins and
Third's
people.
better.
Third's fine.
Third's better?
Third's-
Third's better for me.
Okay, and,
10th could be a little scary.
we've talked to a few people about maybe having, you know those little address labels that you get in the mail? Maybe you don't, Kevin, but a lot of people do.
Oh, yeah.
They just come in the mail, you know, with something that's advertising and you're supposed to send them back money or whatever. But they have your name and address on it. And when you're
Isn't that what
write-in,
NEBS is for?
huh?
Isn't that what NEBS is for?
They used to be.
Used to be, yeah.
You're
So,
dating yourself there, my
Yeah.
Oh,
friend.
deluxe.
Yes.
well, the thing is that it's easier to, you can just put somebody's address label
Yeah.
in the spot. So if you hand out address labels,
They
it'll be
just stick it on the
easier
ballot and check it
to
off.
confirm who the people have written in, you know, because sometimes the writing isn't that great.
I don't need that. There's enough people in town know my name.
That's true.
That's true.
It's pretty generic. So,
You know, because they have a line for address, and if, the they'll count you anyway,
Yeah.
you know, even if they don't know
I
what
don't know if
number
they will
North
if
End
they
Road. No, but the other thing too is, if we get a list together, we can help promote on Facebook
Right, yeah.
those people who are considering being a write-in for what
That's that new
positions. And this way,
electronic
maybe the
stuff.
positions will get filled.
That's that social media stuff?
I did that 6 years
Yeah,
ago.
social media.
My name is like 6 times longer than yours, and I
Yeah.
got written in.
Yeah,
I got written in
I
6
voted
years
for
ago,
you.
so
yeah, but I bet you didn't have his whole name written.
I
Just put Jazz, that's it.
And then they knew.
They probably knew it was me that put it in.
Okay, so it was April 3rd.
Yeah, April 3rd will be our next meeting at 6:30. And then I'll email everyone to, for agenda items before that meeting.
Do you know where the meeting will be held?
At this point, I do not.
Okay.
So what I'll do is, I'll see if I can get the selectmen's, and then I'll email you or call you, either or.
Okay,
I'll let
thank
you know.
But the next meeting, the next THA meeting will be
Wednesday,
Wednesday, April 3rd at
Correct.
6:30. Thank you.
correct. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
At 7:36 PM.
All those in favor?
Yay.
Aye.